Which celebrity's death actually made you cry? Fred Rogers. He was genuinely the nicest man to anyone who ever met him. Terry Pratchett. Scott Lynch wrote a blog about it that beautifully describes what his loss felt like to fans. There is no past tense of Terry Pratchett. This is the one that hurt me the most. GNU Terry Pratchett, you made me a better and more empathetic person. Yeah. Plenty of celebrity deaths have made me melancholy. A bit sad even. Terry's passing was like losing a family member or favorite teacher. His books helped me through so much throughout my life, not to mention teaching me how to be a better version of myself. That actor from Star Trek, Anton Yelchin. Crushed by his own car. I remember seeing him in Charlie Bartlett and thinking, my God, what a talented guy. You're right, that one hurt. This is the one for me. He was just a kid, so talented, and seemed like a really good guy. I'm my mom and stepfather's only child too, and I think that colors my perception of it, imagining their loss, and remembering the look on his mother's face when she spoke about him. It was something I often thought about growing up, of how wrecked my parents would be if something ever happened to me, and I imagine that must have been playing through his final thoughts as well. He voiced the main character in one of my children's favorite cartoons, and I honestly tear up a little whenever the character speaks to his mom. Jim Lee. TPB will never be as good now that John Dunsworth is gone. Sam Lloyd. Can't watch Scrubs without feeling caught up. Was listening to the Blanks cover of Hey Ya the other day and I just froze. Never had a celebrity death have any effect on me in the past. I had the absolute pleasure of working with him on a musical in January before he passed. He was just as wonderful as you would imagine. One of the kindest people I've ever known. I'll always treasure the experience, heart. Or I didn't know he died frown. Bowie had me bummed pretty hard, but Robin Williams was so unexpected and tragic that my wife and I toasted him and I did shed a couple tears. 2016 just killed me. George Michael, Bowie, Prince, and Carrie Fisher. Each of them too early. Each of them a genius with heart and soul. I cried over River Phoenix and Kurt Cobain when I was a teen. Long time ago now. As an adult, I will admit to having to wipe my eyes when I heard Chris Cornell died. It was just such a shock. So many of my musical heroes from my youth were already gone. I'd really thought he'd be one of the ones who made it to a ripe old age. Made me want to wrap Eddie Vedder in cotton wool and make sure nothing happens to him. Oh, so true about Vedder. In the early 90s used to listen to a lot of Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Soundgarden and Alice in Chains, and the last singer alive of these four bands is Eddie. Gotta love him. What's wild about Kurt is his date of passing just came up in April, marking 27 years now, and it still feels like yesterday to me when I was in the school hallway and we were all talking about it and so sad about it. Leonard Nimoy. I still miss him. When I heard he died I was just speechless. Then I found out his last tweet and it broke me. I could barely read it to my wife and still tear up writing this. A life is like a garden. Perfect moments can be had, but not preserved, except in memory. Leonard Nimoy. Gene Wilder. I remember exactly where I was when I heard the news. I was sitting down in a sandwich shop and it was broadcast on the store radio. I heard it but it didn't really register at first, but as soon as I got home it hit me and I had to lie down and cry for a few minutes. According to his family, while taking his last breath he was listening to Over the Rainbow. Such a poetic way to depart, I don't know how to describe it. May he rest in peace. Freddie Mercury. It was really hitting hard at the time in my life and I still remember when I heard the news in the car stereo of someone giving me a lift. We were both in tears and it was one of the saddest moments I had ever had back then. Not to mention when I had a chance to go to one of the first Queen concerts after that feat. Paul Rodgers tour. When Brian May played Love of My Life all alone out there on the catwalk, I could not hold back the tears, still. Edit. Wow, thank you for all the comments and awards. I did not expect this. Hand over mouth. It's super sad since he would have survived if he were infected like even 10 years after. There were signs that Mercury had been exhibiting HIV symptoms as early as 1982. Bus supported Magic Johnson as he revealed his diagnosis of HIV in 1991. Jim Henson for sure, maybe not a traditional celebrity, but the Muppets, Fraggle Rock, man, I'm still sad thinking about his death. I was 14 when he died, lifelong Muppets fan. My dad was reading the paper, how quaint, and told me Jim Henson died. I immediately said no he didn't. My dad again confirmed that he died and I remember yelling no, he didn't. Then I sat down and cried. First time I ever cried over a celebrity death. Jim Henson defined my childhood and I still mourn his passing. Brittany Murphy. I used to watch her movies all the time with a friend of mine who is also now deceased. I still get sad watching her movies. Brittany had the best quote I've ever seen. She'd dated Ashton Kutcher before he dated me. When asked how she felt about them dating, she said I think it's cool, it shows that to him age doesn't matter and to her size doesn't matter. She was the one celebrity death I've shed a few tears for. Such a shame to lose her. Full of beauty and talent, R.I.P. Alan Rickman. That was just such an unexpected one, and I genuinely cried when I read it. He was such an amazing actor and human, it's still sad he's gone. Same. Such a phenomenal actor and a great guy. He kept his cancer diagnosis private, so it was such a shock to all of his fans that he was even sick. I'm still trying to figure out how to make Siri sound like him. Alan Rickman hit me hard. I cried and I'm not even ashamed of it. Every time I see him on screen I still let out an involuntary "Oh, Alan Rickman." Steve Irwin and Alan Rickman. Carrie Fisher and her mother Debbie Reynolds when they died within a few days of each other. Debbie passed away the very next day after Carrie. So sad. This one got me too. There's a Star Wars MMO called The Old Republic that features Alderaan, Princess Leia's home planet, and I ended up doing a bit of an online vigil there with some other folks for a few hours. The music that plays in that area is very somber, and most people just wanted to sit quietly and remember her, so in a game where people are usually running around maniacally and spamming chat, it was an emotional experience. I was also very cut up by Jeremy Bulloch's passing last year. He played Boba Fett in the original trilogy, and he was fairly active with certain fan circles, including a Mandalorian costuming group that I was in for a while. He was one of the only celebrities that I hoped to meet someday, and thought I had a reasonable chance of doing so, and he was supposed to be really nice and down to earth. I guess it never occurred to me that he was getting older. Dolores O'Riordan. She had performed Ave Maria with Pavarotti at one point. Apparently the music of her performance with him was played at her funeral. That was the saddest part of that for me. Chris Farley. The song that Adam Sandler made about Chris Farley makes me tear up every time I hear it still. John Candy. Just watched Planes Trains the other day. It hurts to think of him being gone. I'm friends with his son Chris, and I don't talk about John unless he brings him up. Secretly though, he reminds me enough of him that it kinda warms my heart seeing the extension of his person smile. Anthony Bourdain. I'm a chef and his impact on pretty much everyone in my industry is immeasurable. Kitchen Confidential is easily the most impactful book for most all of us. The most amazing way of translating and speaking about food/chef culture. His shows had an amazing way of highlighting other cultures and the way food brings people together no matter where you are from, and showing that a lot of our differences are purely cosmetic. That day was easily the quietest day I've ever spent in a professional kitchen in my life. Everyone was just silent and upset. Edit. Thanks to everyone who shared their feelings about him. It's crazy to me to see how much influence he had in so many people's lives of all walks of life, even if they aren't a part of the culinary industry. It's a credit to who he was as a person. For a lot of the comments here, I just want to say really quickly. If you're suffering from depression or having suicidal thoughts, please, 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 talk to someone. Friends, family, therapist, phones lines, anyone, everyone. You matter, no matter what you may think, and you matter to others around you. Please open up and talk to people. Same. I've had my bouts of depression and he was open about his issues. But as a restaurateur he was everything I wanted to be. In my mind and other chefs I know he made it. Sometimes I wonder if he couldn't survive, what chance do I have? I loved how he had such a genuine love of food. High-class food, low-class food, spicy food, sweet food, whatever it was, if it was good food, he liked it. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.